Welcome to Cottage Talk Full Time. I'm Russ Goldman. Joining me right now is Emilio Denal. This is our initial reaction to Fulham's 1-0 loss to Wolves at home at Craven Cottage. Emilio, I put it in the title, and tell me I'm wrong. Tell me if I'm right. Fulham get what they deserve, which is nothing against Wolves. We can talk about VAR helping out Fulham, which is great. They don't capitalize on that because they don't score in the second half. Scott deserves some criticism here, okay? Because as you and I talked about it off air, for the final 20 minutes, he decides to go for it. Why didn't he go from the beginning of the match? But that's not his nature. His nature is to play it tight, and then when it gets desperate times in the last 20 minutes, then we go for it. And then you get a sucker punch like you did tonight with Traore. I'm actually watching him on the screen right now. Just congratulations to you because you scored a great goal. But honestly, Fulham didn't do enough to win. I said to you off air, a point is a Band-Aid. Rip the Band-Aid off. We know where we're headed, my friend.
Yeah, that's, I feel like I'm going to sound like a broken record. I'm not going to go on about it. It's the same old problems tonight, right? Team selection, questionable. We didn't, this was we've been saying it's a must-win game. Of course it was a must-win game, but it's, I don't know, we weren't at the races. First half was very poor. Both sides were very poor. I think we got away with that VAR decision. I thought that would spark us, give us a bit of an incentive to get away with blue murder, and you start the second half on the front foot. But I would have changed it at half time as well. We offered nothing in that first half. Make a couple tactical substitutions. Put Madger on, for better for worse. Better to try to go for three rather and then get a sucker punch like we saw tonight. So for me, I thought team selection was disappointing. We offered very little. Again, we didn't score, but it's the same old themes. It's come away pointless. It's pointless doing the show because there's nothing positive to talk about. There's
nothing
problem. So I feel like a broken
nothing
record.
Positive. Yeah.
At the end of the day, there were some decent performances there. I think Congolo, I thought, impressed tonight. I thought he did well.
Yes, he did.
Robinson had some better crosses in for once. And
I want to share this because Giannis has been commenting. Okay. Giannis thinks that we deserve the point. Giannis, my point is that the reason why I'm saying this is that I don't think they did enough to win the match. The way I'm looking at it, final 20 minutes, that point, you don't deserve anything because you didn't go for the entire match. I know what you're saying. Play-wise, maybe they deserved the point, but again, they really gave up two goals. They gave up two goals. That's also kind of where I'm going on. Did Fulham really deserve a point? Yeah,
for me, it's.
But I understand where Giannis is coming from.
I've said it last time I was on a show a couple of weeks ago. Every game's going to be a cup final. Fight like you have to win every game. Yep. But we were just too conservative. Our passing wasn't good enough first half. We conceded a lot of fouls in dangerous areas as well. So we committed unnecessary fouls and we put ourselves under unnecessary pressure. But the same old themes. Final ball not good enough. We've said it from the first game of the season. We complain about the defending early in the season, but final ball not good enough. There's not enough quality coming from midfield. We're there for a reason. I don't want to. I feel like I'm a broken record. Like I've said it 3 times tonight. What's the point of doing this show tonight? We lost 1-0. The keeper should have done better. But why aren't we scoring goals? That's the problem. It's the same old problem. How many goals have we scored at home this season? We can't keep saying, a bit of bad luck here, Giannis. We deserved a point. We played 32 games, for goodness sake. We've scored, how many goals have we scored at home? Single figures, yeah. It's what is there to talk about? There's nothing to talk about. We lost the game.
Right.
Whether we deserve to or not is immaterial. We didn't do enough to win the game, and that was the fact. That's the thing that pisses me off, to be honest. So Scott Parker, be a bit more brave. He should have been brave from the first minute, not from the 70th minute. And that team selection was a little bit, like I said, questionable. So overall, I'm allowed to be critical.
Yep.
I didn't see a team out there doing enough to earn and fight hard to get the 3 points. And that's what's disappointing me. So overall, I am annoyed, but we're going down. So let's prepare ourselves for next season, and let's stay behind the team. That's all we can do. Right. We're there for a reason. You're third from bottom or in the bottom 3 since December for a reason.
Right.
And we saw all of those reasons tonight.
Right. And Amelia, listen, I understand the criticism that I put, Fulham didn't deserve anything, but I'm just looking at it that they, again, really needed to win this. So that's what I mean. They really didn't deserve, they didn't do enough. And when I look at 2 goals, that's kind of where I'm going on. And we'll talk about the VAR decision. I think it's ridiculous, honestly. But you know what? As a Fulham fan, I'm going to take it. Like I said, I don't care that it doesn't count. But in the grand scheme of things, they scored 2 goals. They scored 2 goals. If you really look at it, they scored 2 goals. But I was happy that Fulham were saved by VAR. And in the end, I think it's the right call with VAR involved. But we can argue about the offside rule being like that, because that to me is ridiculous. But honestly, overall, when you look at it and I'm watching this and I'm watching the match, Emilio, does this team look like a team that can go out and win a match? They don't to me. There's no flow to them. Now, again, I understand who they were playing against, but you need to take it to this team. They didn't do it. I understand the philosophy because you're playing Wolves. They're great on the counter. But at some point, you needed to throw caution to the wind. He decided to do it. Scott Parker in the final 20 minutes. Screw that. Do it the entire game. But as we said, it's not his nature.
Yeah. It's just the frustration is, even if we were set up a little bit, conservatively at times, and the same old problems. We get ourselves in a good position. Sometimes the crossings aren't good enough. It's the same old themes. It's 32 games we've talked about the same themes, or minus 5 wins. So 27 games we've talked about same themes: good passing, solid passing. Today we weren't really at the races today. I think at times we gave away sloppy free kicks in dangerous areas. We got away with the VAR decision. I think if that was overturned for us, we would have been crucifying the officials for that.
Absolutely.
So at the end of the day, it's half time. Make a change at half time. I thought we would have, how would you say, taken advantage of that fortuitous decision. We didn't, and we sort of went in second half, same setup as the first. There shows a bit more urgency at times. We sort of got them forward. When Anguissa came on, there was a bit more, like I said, a bit more urgency, but it was gradual. I would have liked to say, just go gung ho, go make a change. It's a cup final. You've got to win this game at all costs. And don't try to be sort of conservative and do it tactically. Just go gung-ho. And unfortunately, Scott didn't do that. So, he can be afforded some criticism tonight. I've defended him on numerous occasions this year. But tonight, the setup and the approach and the lack of threat, we offered nothing.
That's my point, Emilio. That's my point. And listen, I understand the philosophy. And when we look at the first half, and the announcers were talking about this, that you could see that there was a concerted effort to get the ball up to Mitrovic as much as possible. But as the half progressed, and they said this, he kept getting deeper and deeper because they were not able to get the crosses to him. And he was, you could tell this is the first half, he was starting to get frustrated. Now, again, they did get the crosses to him second half, but really, it looked ugly. It really was. The continuity was just not there. It was really an ugly match to watch.
There was no flow. There was no flow to the game. It wasn't.
No, there was absolutely no flow to this game.
Colin Fraser, if we go gung ho, we get stuffed, but we still lost and we didn't go gung ho. So to me, it's like at the end of the day, you've tried to play conservative.
This was a slow burn.
It's we're there for a reason. We thought stay in touch with Newcastle. Well, theoretically, we still are in touch against Newcastle, but they've got 2 games in hand. So anything can happen. Funnier things have happened in football, right? Yep. We stayed up a few, back in 2007, 2008 season. We won how many games did we win? The last half dozen. So it's still mathematically possible. So it's not the end of the world, but if you're going to play like that against Chelsea, Arsenal, Man United, then it will be curtains. So but you've still got those 3 winnable games. I know we keep saying it, but we're running out of winnable games. And Southampton, Burnley, and Newcastle.
I know, and you can look at that as the carrot. The carrot is still dangling because it's still there, but the light is almost off. Let's just say the light is flickering like you wouldn't believe right now. And what frustrates me, and I'm seeing all the comments. This is the way that I look at it, to really talk about how this match was managed by Scott Parker. He played not to lose in the first half all the way up to the 70th minute, and then he decided, okay, we need to win this. So he played it up to a point not to lose, and then he decided now we have to win. But the problem with that philosophy is it leaves you open to what we saw at the end of the match. Yeah. Because at this point, you're leaving yourself open to a situation like Traore. It was a great strike, great goal. Yes, you're right.
Yeah.
The goalkeeper probably should have done better. But at that point, at the end of the match, I'm thinking they did not do enough in this match at all. And a point was, I hate to use the word pointless.
Yeah.
So fine, they lost. We can look at it, and I know the optimists out there are going to say, well, they still only need those 3 victories. But Emilio, again, they could have won this. They could have beaten Villa. There were winnable matches there. And do you feel confident that they can beat Burnley at home after what you've watched? Do you feel confident that they can go on the road and beat Southampton?
The way I look at it, I'm trying to stay optimistic here. I mean, not necessarily about staying up, but there are games, against Arsenal. They play. Arsenal aren't particularly impressive either. So
no, they're not.
Playing away to Arsenal is probably easier than playing at home to Burnley. Perversely, in a weird way.
You're probably right.
The thing is, it's we've got to 30. We've played 32 games. I think someone said it's 9 goals we scored in 17 home games. That's why we are where we are.
That's embarrassing.
It's embarrassing. It's the worst record in the division by a country mile, and we're saying the same things every week. I don't want to keep repeating myself.
No.
It's boring, really. So let's accept we are where we are. Mistakes have been made, but tonight, if we look at it purely on tonight's performance, I think, like I said, the lineup I was somewhat disappointed with, and secondly, the final ball in the box, same thing. There's no movement, off the ball. Nope. It's just. You could argue we missed Lookman. I was hoping maybe Lookman's not been in great form this year, but maybe we would have seen a slightly different setup. But again, you could argue we missed him today.
Yep.
With that creativity, that pace, we missed maybe some of his silky touches there. But it's at the end of the day, you can't just reflect on one game. This game is typical of what we've seen most of the season: lack of quality up front, not creating enough chances, and and being too defensive and conservative in setup. When it was the cup final, go and try to win the game at all costs.
Right.
People may disagree with me, saying, well, if we go at all costs, we get thrashed. But I'd rather have tried and failed rather than not try and you still lose. Outcome the same. We still lost the game.
You still lost the game, and it was a match that was there for you to win, and you did not do enough. You did not take it. What I mean by taking it is you need to go on the offensive, and they did not, and that's why I also put up this comment from our friend Steve Reynolds. Tactically, Scott is defensive in the style of play. We know this, and does not concentrate on the attacking aspect. I agree with Steve on this, and it's gotten Scott Parker to a point as a manager with us. But at some point, you have to go for the win. And I would like it if they start on the front foot, and they just don't, because that's just not his style of play. And you know what? That's going to be the downfall. The downfall is going to be the lack of goals, but it's also going to be the style of play.
Yeah, it's just if we look at attacking wise, when with the limited opportunities that we were attacking for, it's that final board. It was harried. There was not enough quality. There's a lack of intelligence at times. Just sometimes you've got. I think there was one incident in the first half. Was it Anguissa? No, second half. Anguissa went forward. There was nobody in the 6-yard box. Where the hell is everybody? For goodness sake! At the end of the day, you're trying to 0-0. You're trying to win the game. Anguissa got himself in a good position. 0 players in the 6-yard box. Is that the players or is that your tactics?
I was going to say, where's the plan? Where is everyone on the same page? Like you said, where are the players getting ready to attack when he's attacking?
Yeah.
There's no flow. There's no flow. It's static. It's basically, it reminds me of playing pickup basketball, and you just throw the ball around. There are no plays. You just throw the ball around. That's what it feels like.
It's just hope. It's just hope, hoping and praying. There was no lack of quality, but at the end of the day, the lack of quality at times. You can't blame the manager necessarily for that. At the end of the day, he can only play the players he's got in front of him. That's first and foremost. At the end of the day, we're not good enough. We complained about the season 2 years ago. We're not far off having just as bad a season as we did then, points-wise.
Right now.
Let's be honest. We complained 2 years ago. That was an abysmal side. At the moment, they're on a par, points-wise.
I know.
So
and that's the crazy part of this.
We go on how bad that team was and how well we played with this team, but a draw here and a draw there hasn't been enough. So, again, we haven't – it's like I said, it's disappointing. It's not mathematically possible. It's not the end of the world, but we played like we did against Villa, that 15-minute second half. Leeds, the entire game against Leeds. Tonight, where are you going to get 3 wins from? No chance. No chance.
Okay. And I want to also mention this. Things were going their way. And not that I wish anyone to be injured. Neto goes off, Emilio. Okay. A key player for them. Obviously, they don't have Jimenez. We get the break with VAR. We get all these breaks. And they don't take advantage of it. They absolutely don't take advantage of it. Anyways, coming up next, we're going to wrap up the show. And I'm going to ask Emilio, what's next? Exactly. Okay, Emilio. As we wrap up the show, I'm just going to ask you, what do Fulham do now? Again, when you look at this, and you already mentioned that there are still matches out there, and maybe on the road against Arsenal, against Chelsea, might suit them better, okay? I get that. But they're going to have to beat these teams. They can't draw against these teams. Like you mentioned, they still need 3 victories. It's mathematically still there. As people keep bringing out to me and talking to me about it, and I experienced it, what happened at the end of The Great Escape, they got hot at the very, very end. It is possible. I'm going to put my hand up and say, you're right. It's possible. But have you seen any indication from this team that they can score goals? Because I have not. And that's what is making me not think that they can do it, Emilio.
Yeah. The last 3 games in particular, Man City, put that aside for a moment, but we didn't play well against Leeds when that was a game that was winnable. Villa, I think we threw that away, on Sunday. And tonight, we offered very, very little. So if you look at those 3 games, we're actually going through a bad run now. And that's the thing. Ideally, it should be the other way around. If we start to go in an upward trajectory and start to pick up some form, even if we took a point tonight, it wouldn't have been ideal. But the mental impact of losing in the 92nd minute, that's a worry for me. Okay, you're going away to Arsenal. You wouldn't expect to get anything there. But, Arsenal will allow us to play football, and maybe you never know, we might surprise a few people, might get something out of the game. But there are games there that we can still win. But, I've said that for all season, and we've only got 6 games to do that now. So it's you're hoping now. It's out of our hand. It's out of our hands now. Even if we win 3 of those games, you're still relying on other teams to lose. So that's the difference now.
They need a lot of help now, and that's the problem.
At the end of the day, it's I've always Stefan. My glass has always been half full. That, but it's been gradually reduced. Now it's just let's try to enjoy the last 6 games. Let's think about next season, and that's another conversation. And what do we do when we get relegated? Because half these players will go back to their parent clubs.
That's right.
No point bringing back. So I saw some comments earlier. Bring AK, Joe Bryan, and Johansson. They're the history. AK's not good enough. Johansson's wrong side of 30. And Joe Bryan, if he's not good enough to play in the Premier League, I don't want him to play in the Championship. I want to build a squad in the Championship like Wolves did a few years ago. That's good enough to get promoted and good enough to stay in the Premier League. Not what the owners do is buy to get promoted, but then you have to invest to stay in the Premier League. Wrong philosophy. Do what Wolves did. Wolves had a Championship team that won the division comfortably, and they've stayed in the Premier League comfortably for 3 seasons. That's what we need to do. And if we're going to keep some of our existing Championship players, they're not good enough for this level. Joe Bryan, AK, Knockout, Cavallero, these players aren't going to. Tim Ream, Michael Hector, why aren't they figuring? Because they're not good enough for the Premier League. So we've got a big rebuilding plan here.
Absolutely. And listen, and I'm going to say this because again, I was talking to someone who was interviewing me, and I said that when you look at the team building for this year and you want to really analyze the job, I said you need to wait to the end of the season to analyze all the loans and how it worked or how it didn't work. Well, right now, again, you're looking like a situation where you have to do a complete rebuild, like you just mentioned. And Tony Khan is going to have a lot to answer to because, again, like you mentioned, a lot of these players are going to go back. And it's going to be a huge job to figure out and do what you want them to do to build a team that is in the Championship but Premier League ready and not all these loan deals.
Yeah.
And because again, nothing against these players, and I know these players are playing for Fulham, but the way that the financial situation was because of 2 seasons ago, I'm telling you, in my heart, I believe that the reason why we saw so many loans is because of what happened with £100 million over that spent 2 seasons ago. The chickens came home to roost,
Yeah.
And we got in good players, but they're all on loan and they could easily leave. And now we're starting all over again.
Yeah.
So I'll give Tony credit for bringing in quality players. But if they don't stay up, they're in a heap of trouble. And you've already mentioned that, because what's plan B? Plan B is a complete and utter rebuild. Mm-hmm. And I don't see that as a long-term solution. It was a short-term solution in the Premier League to stay in the league, which, again, I understand it. But now you've really, if they do go down, you kind of screwed yourself. So he deserves criticism for that.
Yeah. So it's we'll reflect that on another show, but certainly
another show. Sorry, I'm going in all different directions, my friend.
Yeah, but my view is, at the end of the day, this team has tried. It's played good football at times, but at the end of the day, there's too many negatives to talk about on this show. Tonight we saw a lot of the reasons why we are in the bottom three. It's just you're not going to win games the way we were set up tonight, and the lack of desire, appetite, and desire. Basically, there was no desire to win the game tonight. I just we were too.
I think that's also part of the problem.
Yeah, we were too lethargic. We were slow. Yep. There's not enough quality offensively when it counts. Final ball not good enough. All these themes that we saw that all tonight, and we failed to score again. And so it's we're there for a reason. So it's just, we're talking about the same problems time and time again, aren't we? Just it does get boring. So sorry if people are listening and hearing the same things, but there's nothing else to go. It's Round Beach, Norwich model is a way to go. Yo-yo club, we are a yo-yo club. But Norwich had players. They didn't multi-invest. They bought players, and look, they're going to storm the division and probably have enough. Well, not say enough quality to stay in the Premier League. They will actually keep the bulk of that team and will allow them to play next season in the Premier League when they get promoted again this year. Half our team are going to be disappeared next year. I don't think we've got enough non-loan players that are good enough to get us out of the Championship unless we buy shrewdly. So Tony Khan, you've got unfortunately you'll have to sell a few players, but you've got to get your checkbook out. Otherwise, you're not going to get out of that Championship very quickly next year. That's what I'm worried about. I actually think it's going to be quite a difficult rebuilding phase. Okay.
Well, that's for another show. But I don't blame you for going there. But my friend, let's wrap this up. For Emilio Danello, I'm Russ Goldman. Thank you as always for watching and listening to Cottage Talk.